Hey everyone, welcome back to our prison architect build. This is Paul with MGP Gamer, and thanks to a hiccup with my recording software, which has now been resolved thankfully, you come into it where my guys are already in the process of building the cell block that we've built behind the holding cell. So we'll speed them up to get them to actually build the structure. There aren't going to be any cells in it when this is done. This is basically just going to be a large empty room where they will build the cells. That being because I want to build the cell walls out of one of the new wall tiles that came with the fabled community update I keep talking about, using the decayed white tile look, you know, to make the jail look a little, I don't know, scuzzy, let's say. So first of all, they've got to actually finish this one particular structure, and once they've done that, you can see that I've actually used the planning tool beneath that to show where I'm going to actually place my cells. Like with most of my designs, there it is, wonderful. They're going to put some power lines in and all the lights, so it'll brighten up in there. As with all my designs, I like the whole 3 wide hallways, pathways, corridors thing. So once the cells are built, let's extend this hallway first so that we have a completed hallway along the top of the cell block. Once the cells are built, there'll be 3 wide hallways around them where guards can patrol. So we'll start by drawing in the required white decayed walls, and then once that's done, we'll make spaces for doors in the center of each room so we have cells. Not much to do at this point except drawing the walls. Once the walls are drawn, my workmen should hopefully start going at it, and then we'll have, well, an entire structure, because we'll have the hallway above where they're working now, and then we'll have cells here in the main area, and we'll have actually achieved something. We'll have something more than just a load of hallways. We'll actually have what looks like a halfway completed building. I did tell you guys there was method in my madness. Okay. Well, they're leaving. Maybe they're short of materials. Oh, there we go. Delivery guy's bringing a load of materials. Meantime, let's extend this particular hallway. We'll make it parallel with the one beneath it there, and then I'm sure eventually in that exterior space there we'll enclose it and create an interior space for something else. But for the here and the now, let's take out these pieces of wall to create an open corridor. So 3 projects, chaps: the hallway here by the cell block, the hallway above, and the cells themselves, which they're actually starting to work on. Wonderful. Now that we know where the cells are going to go, let's start putting doors in the center of each one. I like the doors in the center. Again, you can see that whole thing I have for, whoops, wrong place. Let's change that. There we go. You can see that whole thing I have for keeping my designs as unified as possible. You know, I mean, not that I have a whole lot of experience inside a jail, but I would assume that it's nice and neat and uniform and, you know, built as a model of efficiency rather than things going all over everywhere. And alright, I know this is a game and I know the whole point is to have fun doing it, and I'm sure that there are plenty of people out there that have designed some really crazy wild jails, but I kind of want my jail to start out as a jail and then maybe advance up to a prison, but I kind of want my jail to be, you know, nice and neat and uniform. So what do you folks think? Do you like it that way? Would you do something different? Leave me a comment below, let me know. Oh, I foresee a problem there. Yeah, my guys are going crazy building the cell block, but there's that one thing that always happens where there's that one piece of wall in the center, the sort of the center of the cross that they haven't built. I'm probably going to have to, if they don't build it, going to have to go in and take that out. Meantime, right there, look at that. Yeah. Oh well, let's take the other pieces out around it. And there's a lights actually in the walls there. Never mind. Let's take those pieces out and then hopefully they'll address that. Let's run some cables all the way down to the end of the hallway so that the whole thing's lit up. Wonderful. Okay. Alright. So now let's let them address that problem. There he goes. And now this chap's bringing some bricks down, which means hopefully they'll fix the issue. This is another advantage to playing with unlimited funds, because if this were to happen and I was playing with a limited budget, I'd have to be very conscious of the fact that I've got a budget to think about. But here I can just build whatever I want without worrying about the cost. Let's take out these lights that are in the walls because they're useless and they won't get any power. Oh, and let's fix that because what am I doing now? Let's extend this hallway this way. We'll take out those three, okay, and we'll take out these three. Now, in case you guys don't know, you can see there on the holding cell that it's got one of those exclamation points that implies there's something wrong. That's because there isn't yet a canteen where inmates, if they were being held in the holding cell, could eat. Once I build a canteen and give potential inmates somewhere to eat, that will address itself. I'm going to grab a few more workers here to speed up production because it seems like they're going kind of slowly. You know, I know they will go slower when there's no paths outside for them to walk on. When they have to walk on the dirt, they'll go slower. But it also makes sense that if you've got more workmen, and again, with no money, you don't have to worry about paying them. The more workmen you hire, the faster jobs will get done. Okay. Let's build a logical end to this. And this is what I talked about by the cell block. If we round an area off, then we'll have sort of a walled-in courtyard, which eventually, this is what I mean by a walled-in courtyard, right there. We'll be able to fill that in with a concrete floor and a structure, and we'll have interior space. Oh, I missed a wall. Look at that. Okay, so we'll add that wall there to complete the buildings for the cell blocks. And then we'll create an interior space here. Now hopefully that'll just leave the existing brick wall there. Let's take a piece out so they can get in. And they'll come and put some flooring in there, hopefully. Okay. Now I want to turn all these into cells, so let's create one to begin with. Okay, we require a bed or a comfy bed, which we'll address another time because right now the comfy beds don't particularly work, and the toilet, which is all it needs to be a valid cell, which is to say suitable for an inmate to use. I always make my cells a little bigger because in a little bit we'll add a few other items to make it a little bit more luxurious, a little bit more comfortable for the inmates. We'll give him a TV, for example. We'll give him a radio by his bed. That way around. There we go. And we'll give him a comfy chair for his TV. You want to watch TV, you want a comfy chair. And I think maybe let's give him a bookshelf. Okay, now the way I look at it is if someone has to be in jail, at least they've got a few home comforts. We'll change the flooring. We won't make the flooring too glamorous because it is after all a jail cell. Okay, we'll clear the plans now, we don't need them. And while they fit out the one cell there, let's build some offices, because I'm going to need to hire some staff, because my plan, first of all, we want a Warden's Office. So let's, standard size office is 4x4, which needs a perimeter of 6x6. So let's do that. And here you see an example of one of the really fancy walls that was added with the PS4's, or the console edition's community update. When my guys get down there, we can take out these interior walls now because we don't need them now. We've got the one office in place. But once my chaps get down here and actually start building what's going to be the Warden's Office, you will see that the walls really are a little fancier. And that's where my thing for hallways came from, because you don't necessarily want to create fancy walls like that as exterior walls. So I create interior walls separately. I create exterior walls, hallways, then interior walls. Now we'll run some piping into the one toilet that's already placed, and because we know the other toilets are all going to be in the same places, we can run the other pipes because we know where the toilets are going to be. The cells on the lower half are essentially going to be a reflection of the upper half, so we know where we can place those pipes. We'll run some electrical cables down here so that once he's situated, the warden will have some light in his office. There you can see the classy burgundy wall going in place. It's rather nice. There are also a few new carpet options or flooring options in the community update, so we'll be able to give the warden an office whose carpet matches his walls, which, you know, I'm sure he'll appreciate once he's hired and actually doing a job for us. We'll have to give his office a door, obviously, so he can get in, which is why there's a marker there right now, an exclamation point, because we've essentially built a squared off area with no way for anybody to access it. And ultimately my plan is to start going through the bureaucracy tree, because I'm going to need, or I'm going to want the foreman to access the cloning tool, which will mean the one cell that's been pre-designed I'll be able to copy across all those other empty rooms without having to place each item individually. Okay, so let's let these guys finish the cabling. We'll speed them up a little bit. They'll put the cabling in and they'll eventually come hopefully and put his door in. We'll have them do some paving and fencing outside to carry on the whole thing of letting the outside match up with the inside. Okay, we have pipe work going in. There's the door. There's the warden's office with its one light in the corner, but at least there's light in there. Okay, so now let's zone it as an office. There we go. Okay. Now it's going to need filter by room. We can see, which is a really handy way of seeing just what you need in one room to meet its requirements. In the case of an office, a desk, chair, and a filing cabinet. Once all those items have come in, the office will be considered valid. We'll add red carpet to match his burgundy walls, another one of the things that was added as part of the community update. Make sure we put carpet in the doorway as well. And then we'll build another office using my 3 wide gap with the green walls. Let's go 6 by 6. There we go. Because once the warden's hired, I'm going to want a foreman. Once the foreman's hired, I can unlock the cloning tool, which will make it much easier to create the rest of the cells. And you can see some of the classy red carpet going in. You can see the checkerboards at the moment, which designate the rooms. Makes it look like the carpet's tiled almost. There's the warden, and as soon as they've finished building his office, he'll claim it, and then we can start researching for the foreman. Meantime, the cell block's all intact, so it's just a case of waiting till we can clone those cells and add cells. Again, same thing with that one finished cell. The red marker is because there is not a canteen attached to it for people to be able to eat. So let's create a hallway down this side. Whoop, where are we going? There we go. Let's create a hallway down this side so that we'll then have space beneath that to add the kitchen, the canteen, and so on and so forth. Here comes the foreman's office. They still haven't finished putting all the stuff in the warden's office. The warden's still waiting for his chair. But we'll create the foreman's office anyway. Desk, chair, and filing cabinet. There we go. Now the warden has his chair, the warden's claimed the bottom office. So let's go to the bureaucracy tree. Big and confusing, but relatively easy to figure out. We'll unlock the foreman first of all, and once we can hire the foreman, we'll unlock cloning, and this whole area up here will begin to look a lot less empty. Meanwhile, let's create a third office, because we're going to need 6 offices eventually if memory serves. So let's create the third just south of the holding cell. Where's he going? Always confuses me when workmen go off somewhere where you're not expecting them to. We could do with a few lights down at the bottom end here. They didn't really put any lights in the center. It's kind of dark there. So let's add a few lights across the bottom of what's now the office block, I suppose. Okay. And hopefully there's still a few floor pieces missing there. They haven't got all the way in. I was going to say hopefully once he's done with the door there, that would actually finish that off, but it's not going to until they come and put those few last floor pieces in. But look, it says at the top left there, 0 of 1. We actually have facilities to hold 1 whole inmate at the moment. We're going to hold off on inmates until the design's exactly the way I want it, I think. I don't really like bringing inmates in until I'm ready to care for them properly. You know, I have to take care of inmates while I've still got workmen running around and walls half built. Yeah, you just know if you do that there's going to be some escapes. Okay, come on chaps. Look at that. I built a concrete wall when I intended to have a brick wall. Whoops. Okay, maintenance is unlocked, so we can go and hire a foreman. Let's fix this first so that all those walls match and they're all brick walls. Now we can hire a foreman. There he is. He'll make his way down to the second office once it's complete, which it is right up after this filing cabinet's gone in. There we go. The foreman will claim that office, and then we can go back to the bureaucracy tree and we'll unlock cloning, which means then we can finally finish the cell block. Once the third office is built, that's going to be for the security chief. Let's give the foreman brown carpet to match his green walls, or at least to be fairly close to his green walls. Here he comes. Ah, here comes the guy to finish off this hallway, thankfully. Or at least put one piece in. Is he going to put that second piece in? He is. And there we go. There's the hallway beneath the cell block. Okay. We'll take out the 3 blocking pieces and we'll stick some lights in and we'll stick some power cables in. There we go. All the way to the end. Fantastic. Okay, the cloning research is complete, which means that we should be able to finish off our cell block, or actually essentially create our cell block from scratch. First of all, I'm going to use the quick rooms tool to put a canteen. We'll just put it flush with this corner. It'll build the defaults with concrete walls, which I can then change to one of the fancier walls as I see fit to make it, you know, look nicer essentially. Let's move it up though. Let's try and keep with my 3 wide hallway aesthetic. 1, 2, 3. There. Okay, let's put it there. There we go. And the same thing still applies. Once it's built, we'll change the walls to what we actually want them for. Let's put a door in what's going to be probably the security chief's office. And part of the reason I wanted to show the quick room with the canteen is because what the cloning tool does is essentially the same thing. If I drag the cloning tool around the one completed cell, it will essentially create a quick room option for that cell, which I can then drop onto all the empty spaces in the cell block and zone out pre-constructed cells in one click. Okay. There's the structure for the canteen, mostly done. Let's add the desk, the chair and the filing cabinet to the 3rd office. There we go. Now, as you can see, they've taken down the brick wall. They're putting in concrete walls to close off the canteen, and in the meantime, because we have a 3rd office, we'll use the bureaucracy tree to unlock security, because then the security chief can claim that office. This is the cloning tool. This is what I'm talking about. If I drag this over the one cell, there you go, and then as you see, it becomes essentially a quick room. And you can just add it into each pre-existing space across the top. And then once we've done the last one here, there it is. We can flip the tool like that and then flip it again like that, so that they're mirror images. And then we'll run this along the bottom. We'll go all the way to the far side, right back where we started, and as you can see already, they've got the concrete tile floor and they've got place markers for the beds, the TVs, you know, every item that the cells need. So right there, once the cloning tool's unlocked, we've created a cell block with 20 cells just like that. Now let's change the walls on the canteen, tiled floors, so we'll use the tiled walls. Once the room's built, you can just drag a replacement wall across the whole thing and the workmen will come in, probably when they've finished putting everything on all these cells, and they'll change the walls of the canteen. Let's speed them up, let them go a little bit quicker. Okay, there they go. And as you can see, to me at least, the canteen looks much nicer when the walls and the floors can match, much like the 3 offices right next to it. Okay, we're having a water issue. The pipes aren't powerful enough to send water all the way to the far side of the cell block, so half the toilets aren't connected. Okay, so we'll have to run pipes again in the centers of the hallways. We'll do it that way, and then we'll run a small piece of pipe, come on, there, between there, and in theory that'll make all the toilets work. Okay, here come the pipes. I'm sure once all those pipes are in place, we'll be good. Okay guys, I think that's about where we're gonna wrap this one up for this time. If you liked the video, leave me a comment. Please remember to like, share and subscribe. Turn on notifications for the following videos, and we will see you in the next one. Thanks for watching everybody.